Good morning, students. Welcome to your computer class. I am Sunny. Students, today we will move further with the chapter which we were discussing. Before that, we will do a quick recap as we do it before our classes. And I hope of you would have read the chapter by now. And if you have not read the chapter, I request you to stop the video right now, read the topic which we are going to learn today, and then you can resume the video. For those who have already read or have completed the chapter, have understood the chapter, and or if you have any questions, we will proceed further and I will try to address all your doubts here. So, students will do a quick recap what we have learned till now. In our first class, we learned about what a computer software is, where we discussed about it is a set of instructions and how it performs tasks, how it is important, how a hardware cannot work without a software, and how a software cannot work without a hardware. Then we learned about types of software and types of software. I discussed about two broad classification, which was the system software and application software. So after that, we learned about the sub classification of system software and application software. So in system software, the sub classification was operating system, language processor, and utility software. So operating system, as we discussed, was is a very important software without which the system cannot work. And then we learned about language processor, how where we discussed about how the computer which understands only binary language can communicate with you in English or any other languages. That is possible only because of the language processors. So there were basically three types of language processors which we discussed in our last class, and those were assembler, interpreter, and compiler. Then we discussed about utility software. In utility software, we discussed about how the software performs maintenance on your computer to ensure that it runs smooth. There we discussed about disk defragmenter, in which how the files are rearranged in a single sector of a disk in the hard drive, so that it creates lot of space and makes the system move fast, and the system efficiency is increased. Then we discussed about antivirus software, where we discussed that how an antivirus software provides security to the computer. We spoke about backup utility. Backup utility is basically done to ensure that the system has backup of all the information. So in case if the hard drive goes bad, or if the system crashes, or by accidentally if your system gets formatted, then still you have a backup of all the important files which you can restore it back into your computer. Then we discussed about compression. In compression, how the files are compressed to ensure that there are enough space available in the system hard drive. After that, we learned about application software. In application software, uh, so this is the tree, which we were discussing about right now. So the system software, you can see the application software, the operating system, language processor, utility software, then general purpose application software, and specific application software. Now, general purpose application software. Now, general purpose application software, we discussed about how these softwares are created for a general public, for all of us, right? If you want MS Word, you can easily buy it online or buy it from a store, from a computer store. So it is very easy. Now from 2010 onwards, Microsoft have stopped issuing disk or the CD for Microsoft Office. So the only way you can purchase a genuine copy of a Microsoft is through Microsoft.com or .co.in, where you will download the trial version, and from the trial version you are asked to pay a subscription, whatever, like if you want a lifetime subscription, then you can go for the lifetime key. If you are using it for commercial purpose, then there is a different activation key or the code or the license which Microsoft will give it to you after receiving the payment, and this code is sent across to your email account. Similarly, spreadsheet software, word processing software, we discussed about word processing, MS Word, and we discussed about Office, then we discussed about Apple Pages and Google Docs. Then we discussed about spreadsheet software. These are used for mathematical calculations, which was Google Sheet, Apple Numbers, and these were the examples of it. After that, we discussed about presentation software. In presentation software, we discussed about Apple Keynote, Microsoft PowerPoint, Google Slides, and OOO Impress. So then we discussed about DBMS, where I told you how a big warehouse of data, a big godown of data is managed by these softwares. So example of this was MS Office, Oracle, and MySQL, OpenOffice.org base. So today we are going to learn about desktop publishing, which is also called as DTP. Now students, what this DTP is used for? Now you would have seen, if you open your bit by bit book, you can see that every page has got a certain design in terms of color, like the way computer software is written, the way the page number is written, and the design around that particular page number. So all this designing work is done by DTPs. So there are few examples of DTP which are available with us, which is Adobe InDesign, Quark Express, Adobe PageMaker, and Microsoft Publisher. There are a lot of them. We are just discussing few of these examples here. Now students, they are also used for creating design not only for books but also for newspaper and brochures. So the desktop publishing is especially for book and newspaper, it is used for that. Next comes is the graphic software. Now graphic software allows us to create and edit images. So this is only related to create and edit images. We are going to discuss about multimedia, where I am going to talk about one more point there, which will help you understand to how to differentiate between graphic software and multimedia software. Now examples of graphic software are Adobe Photoshop, Corel Draw, Paint Shop Pro, etc. Now these graphic softwares are only related with images, right? Next comes is the multimedia software. Now this software let us combine images, text, sound, animations and videos. So multimedia. So multi means many, media means the form of data in terms of pictures, images, text, sound are called as media. Now, so there are here in graphic software we were only dealing with images, but here we are dealing with images, text, sound, animations and videos. So hence it is called as the multimedia. It is an interactive software. An example of multimedia software is Adobe Flash. Now you would have seen, especially most of the simple basic cartoons, videos which is shared or in which you would have seen it in the TV, those things are developed using multimedia software. Next comes is the specific purpose application software. Now students, this software is something which I strongly feel none of you would have seen it or none of you would have used it till date. Why? Because these softwares are developed keeping certain requirement in mind. Now what does this mean? This means especially if a bank wants to develop its software, then the company, it approaches a company and tells them that I want a programming software where I can keep all the records of my customers, how much fixed deposit they have, what is their address, what is their name, what is what is their PAN number, what is their Aadhaar number, what is their email address, where are they staying, what is the alternate address, and all even the photograph, what is your account number, what is your which branch all you hold the account, all these details are fed in an organized way. So what these company or these software organizations do it, they build a particular software based on the requirement. Now I give you an example of banking. So next example I can give it to you for customer database management. Now customer database management means every organization have got a customer department where anyone has got a problem, any customer has got a problem, then they can reach out to them, and the details of all these things, whatever problem they have, are put into the system, and then they are given a service number or a ticket number, right? Now this number helps the customer to locate the file when the next time he or she calls the company, or if the company wants to look into the details of your complaint, then they can just do that by using the ticket or the other number. So these databases are maintained by a particular organization. Now even in supermarkets they have their own software, railways have their own software. So all these big organizations, they get these details or these softwares from large organization. Now in the picture you can see I have mentioned about Infosys Finacle. Infosys is India's one of the largest software companies, and Finacle is one of their banking software. So even in Fatehpur branch, if you go to especially if you go to SBI or the ICICI bank, and if you try to peep into their system and see which software are they are using, on the left top hand side you would see that the name of the program Finacle is written there, FINACLE. So Finacle is a banking software which is provided by Infosys. Infosys develops this program, and banks which wants to take the services of this can purchase it from Infosys. Similarly, there is another example which I have mentioned here, which is Fiserv. Fiserv is an example of Oracle. Oracle is one of the global largest software company. So they are a very huge organization, and Fiserv is used to maintain financial records. So it is not limited to the bank, even the other financial institutions take and keeps the record of this. So the name of Oracle product is Fiserv and name of Infosys product is Finacle. So these are two financial banking software. So this tells us the examples of specific purpose application software. So student, next we will move to understand the relationship between hardware and software. Now how does an hardware and software, what are the relationship between them? See, until and unless the user is there, the system will not work. If you can power on the system, but it will not work until and unless a user gives a command. So the first step which comes there is a user. Now what a user do? I use some or the other application, like I might use MS Word, I might use MS Excel, I might use MS PowerPoint, I might use a game, I might use Paint, I might use a PowerPoint presentation, anything. So that's an application. So I as a user, when I use that application, that information is passed on to the operating system, because all application software has to work with operating system. Now after operating system, it passes on to the system hardware. Now when the system hardware receives that information, it again processes the data and puts it back to the operating system. Then it moves to the application, and at last you as the user can see the output on the monitor screen. So student, here one more important point is mentioned about is software piracy. Now the word piracy means theft. So any unauthorized copying or distribution of copyrighted software is considered as software piracy violation. In India, the Information Technology Act 2000 prohibits us from copying any such programs from any unauthorized source, which means if you are buying a pirated version of MS Word, if you are buying a pirated version of let's say Windows or any other program, which then it will be considered illegal and you will be considered for legal obligation. You will have to pay legal obligations. So, we should avoid using such software because pirated software also reduces the risk, security risk of your computer. So, you might be easily prone to virus attack because of software piracy. So, students, this brings us to the end of the chapter, and in back exercise we have completed A, B, C, D, and in E we have completed question number 1, we have completed question number 2 and 3. So, today for homework we will do question number 4 and question number 5 in our computer notebook, which is what do you mean by language processor and what is an operating system. So, these two questions you will write it and try to answer the question in 2 points, and below that you can see in page number 26 there is a fun time which you can complete it in the book itself. Students, if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, feel free to reach me through the comment section. Thank you and have a great day.